It's not every year that free agency is as exciting as the regular season. And yet, this year has certainly been that way. And while plenty of teams definitely made the right moves, there are an equal, if not more, amount of teams who absolutely dropped the ball. With most of the big-name 2022 NFL free agents now off the market, it's a good time to reflect on the early winners and losers from this offseason so far. Several teams did wonderful jobs filling roster holes and assembling loads of talent at a very fair price. Other teams, however, either failed to address their roster weaknesses, or they simply spent ridiculous amounts of money on the wrong players. So here are 5 NFL teams that won the 2022 NFL free agency period, and 5 that totally blew it. 1. Miami Dolphins. Yes, we know. Teams who usually win the offseason don't always go on to succeed in the regular season. But we really feel a different vibe with these Miami Dolphins. Receiver depth, offensive line, and running back were the main priorities for GM Chris Grier, and he's already addressed all of them. He landed longtime New Orleans Saints standout offensive tackle Terron Armstead and Dallas Cowboys guard Connor Williams on long-term packs. Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert will improve a rushing game that placed 30th last season. Grier also signed former Cowboys wideout Cedric Wilson Jr. following a career season. He and trade pickup Tyreek Hill will help replace the inconsistent Devontae Parker, whom Miami traded to New England. Grier also got valuable quarterback insurance by signing journeyman Teddy Bridgewater to a 1-year deal. So if Tua Tagovailoa gets injured or struggles, the Dolphins have a safe backup plan. Tagovailoa now plays behind a scary good offensive line, and he's loaded with weapons across the board. This has to be the year that he finally breaks out, right? If so, the Dolphins have all the makings to be a title contender. Blew it. Dallas Cowboys. Sure, the Cowboys had a very difficult salary cap situation entering this offseason, but that doesn't excuse the many head-scratching decisions from Jerry and Stephen Jones. Even if you think the Cowboys were wise to move on from Amari Cooper's expensive contract, this offense is undoubtedly worse without the 4-time Pro Bowler. Instead of keeping Cooper, Dallas extended Michael Gallup for $62.5 million over 5 years. That's pretty risky considering Gallup is coming off an ACL tear, and even when he is healthy, Gallup is not on the same level as Cooper. The Cowboys also lost 2 key starters on the O-line in Connor Williams and La'el Collins. Jerry seemingly had Randy Gregory sign long-term, but the latter was unhappy with a clause in the deal and wound up ditching Dallas for the Denver Broncos. That put Dallas down another stud on defense. The aforementioned Cedric Wilson Jr. could have been retained. All it would have taken was some cap gymnastics from Jones. It was also surprising to see the boys re-sign linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, whose PFF grades over the last 3 years are 58.4, 50.6, and 63.5. In the bargain hunting bin, Dallas signed receiver James Washington and linebacker Dante Fowler Jr. But if Jones remained patient, he could have probably landed better impact players on equal contracts. We're talking guys like Jarvis Landry and Jadeveon Clowney. Truthfully, just some questionable decisions all around from the Cowboys this offseason. 1. Cincinnati Bengals. The Super Bowl runner-ups had one simple offseason task: rebuild the offensive line, for crying out loud. And hey, mission accomplished. The Bengals were a few plays away from completing the Cinderella season and defeating the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl, even though Joe Burrow took 70 sacks in the regular season and postseason combined. With a top-flight offense and a championship-caliber defense, the Bengals were able to focus on their O-line, and they did just that. Tampa Bay Buccaneers standout guard Alex Kappa was signed to a reasonable 4-year deal worth $40 million. The versatile Ted Karras came aboard on a 3-year pact worth just $18 million. Following his release from Dallas, La'el Collins signed a 3-year deal with the reigning AFC champs. Karras and Collins each allowed just 2 sacks last season, while Kappa allowed 5 while taking just 1 penalty. The addition of these 3 big men should help keep Burrow upright in 2022. Simply put, the Cincinnati front office did exactly what they had to. Look for them to bounce back strong after that crushing Super Bowl loss. Blew it. Chicago Bears. We don't hate the Khalil Mack trade from the Bears end. That contract probably won't age well, plus his production wasn't justifying the high salary. But we ask this, what in the world is the long-term plan in the Windy City? Justin Fields had a below-average supporting cast and an atrocious offensive line, and the Bears did absolutely nothing to address that. Rather, they let Pro Bowl wideout Allen Robinson and standout guard James Daniels both walk in free agency. Even with all that cap space cleared from the Mack trade, the Bears have brought in 0 impact players on offense. They did sign former Green Bay Packers offensive lineman Lucas Patrick, but the PFF data shows that he's barely starting caliber. Did we mention the Bears' 2022 first-round pick goes to the New York Giants after they traded it away to move up and get Fields last year? How in the world is Fields going to improve behind a terrible offensive line with Darnell Mooney as his only reliable target? Hey, best of luck to you in year 2, young man. 1. Baltimore Ravens. It feels like the Ravens always find a way to win the offseason. Yeah, they had to bid farewell to several notable starters this offseason on both sides of the ball, but the acquisition of former New Orleans Saints safety Marcus Williams more than makes up for those losses. The Ravens signed Williams to a 5-year contract worth $70 million, adding another stud defensive back to a secondary that features all-pro corners Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, plus underrated safety Chuck Clark. Injuries led to Baltimore having the league's worst pass defense a year ago. Having Williams now gives the Ravens the best secondary in the league, provided the other guys stay healthy. It's pretty scary that a takeaway-happy defense adds a guy with 15 career picks and 38 pass defenses. Good luck throwing the ball against these guys. Offensive tackle was also a pressing need, and GM Eric DaCosta found great value by signing Morgan Moses to a bargain 3-year pact worth $15 million. If Pro Bowl tackle Ronnie Stanley can stay healthy, he and Moses will form one of the league's best offensive tackle duos. Lamar Jackson is certainly smiling, and not just because he's about to get paid handsomely on his next contract. Blew it. New England Patriots. 1 year ago, Bill Belichick went on an uncharacteristic, albeit successful, free agent splurge. Matt Judon, Jalen Mills, Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith were all brought in by a team that usually builds through the draft. Well, Belichick's master plan paid off. The Patriots, led by rookie QB Mac Jones, returned to the postseason with a 10-7 record. And yep, it already looks like the Patriots may fail to build off that promising year. We can't criticize Belichick for letting J.C. Jackson chase the bag in LA, but his idea of replacing Jackson, at least before the draft, was bringing back Malcolm Butler? Interesting move. Mainstay offensive lineman Ted Karras, special teams weapon Gunnar Olszewski, and veteran running back Brandon Bolden all departed. We did like the Devontae Parker trade for New England, but they failed to replace Karras. The defense lost its best defensive back, and the linebacker and pass rushing units look considerably worse than last year. That's a concern when you consider how badly the Buffalo Bills exposed the Patriots defense in the postseason. Meanwhile, the Bills added Von Miller, the Broncos landed Russell Wilson and Randy Gregory, the Chargers got Mack and Jackson, the Ravens got Williams, the Raiders got Chandler Jones and Devontae Adams, the Colts got Matt Ryan, and the Bengals, well, they rebuilt their O-line. And, well, we already touched base on the Dolphins. So, what was Belichick's big move to help New England keep pace in the AFC? Does anyone have an idea? Anyone? 1. Los Angeles Chargers. You know you had a great offseason when your GM adds not 1, but 2 All-Pros to your already star-studded defense. The Chargers started the offseason with a bang, acquiring Khalil Mack in a trade with the Bears. A few days later, they signed former Patriots star corner J.C. Jackson to a mammoth 5-year contract worth $82.5 million. Mack and Jackson joined a Chargers defense that already includes sack specialist Joey Bosa and jack-of-all-trades safety Derwin James Jr. And ball-hawking corner Asante Samuel Jr. should only get better after a solid rookie year. The Chargers GM Tom Telesco did more than just sign Jackson, though. He retained star receiver Mike Williams on a team-friendly 3-year deal worth $60 million. He also found a cheap Jared Cook replacement in Gerald Everett, and addressed the leaky rush defense by signing Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson. The Chargers' run D and lack of pass rushers outside of Bosa prevented them from making the playoffs last year. Now? Well, the sky's the limit for Brandon Staley's squad. These Chargers are ready to finally make the jump to bona fide Super Bowl contenders. Blew it. Arizona Cardinals. So, after an ugly second half, a humiliating blowout loss to the Los Angeles Rams in the wildcard round, and all of this Kyler Murray drama, the Cardinals' master plan was what, exactly? The departure of Chandler Jones was pretty predictable. He priced himself out of the desert, but the Cardinals really couldn't find a replacement in the deep pass-rushing free agent pool? Two other defensive starters, Jordan Phillips and Jordan Hicks, are also goners. The Cardinals' only noteworthy move were re-signing Zach Ertz and James Conner. But even the latter was an overpay at $21 million over 3 years. Arizona is supposed to be making win-now moves with Kyler Murray still on his rookie contract. Yet they've done nothing to address their leaky O-line, their lackluster front seven, or their depleted receiving core. Seriously, what's the long-term plan here? Are they trying to force Murray out of town? Because the front office and ownership certainly don't look like they're willing to build a winner around him. That's the main takeaway we have from the Cardinals' free agent activity, or rather lack thereof. 1. Los Angeles Rams. What do you do when you're the defending Super Bowl champions who got hit hard by the salary cap? Well, it's easy. Just add a Pro Bowl wideout and another future Hall of Fame linebacker to your star-studded roster. The cap-strapped Rams watched Andrew Whitworth retire. Von Miller, Darius Williams, Austin Corbett, and Sebastian Joseph Day left in free agency, and Robert Woods was dealt to the Tennessee Titans in a cap-dumping move. Letting those men go allowed GM Les Snead to land Allen Robinson on a bargain 3-year deal worth $46.5 million. He'll team up with Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson to ensure that Matt Stafford still has a plethora of playmaking weapons at his disposal. And on the other side of the ball, as if Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey didn't make this defense scary enough, the Rams also signed former Seattle Seahawks linebacker Bobby Wagner to a 5-year pact worth $50 million. It's almost impossible to repeat in this day and age. But the Rams have sure done an excellent job in maximizing their chances, even with their backs up against the salary cap wall. Let's all give Les Snead a big round of applause. His Rams just keep on winning, even well into the offseason. Blew it. Jacksonville Jaguars. We don't really like putting the Jaguars here, because the offseason moves by GM Trent Bulk have them in position to improve from their 2021 win total of 3. But really, we have to ask, on what planet is Christian Kirk worth $72 million over 4 years? That is a lot of money for a guy who's never been a Pro Bowler or hit 1,000 receiving yards. Looking back, why didn't the Jaguars just give out half that money to a guy like Allen Robinson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Russell Gage, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, or Cedric Wilson? The 3-year, $24 million deal for Zay Jones was also a bit of a head-scratcher. He never hit 60 catches or 700 receiving yards in a season. But sure, sign him and let former 1,000-yard guy DJ Chark walk in free agency. We won't hate on Brandon Scherf's 3-year deal worth $49.5 million. The Jaguars have to help Trevor Lawrence, and the former Washington All-Pro guard should provide plenty of protection. The signings of Evan Ingram and Darius Williams should also pay off as well. Here's another deal we don't understand though. $45 million over 3 years to linebacker Foye Oluokun, a guy who posted a 2021 PFF grade of 46.0. Why on earth would the Jags pay a below-average player like he's a Pro Bowler? We're also trying to wrap our heads around the 3-year, $30 million deal Jacksonville handed to Foley Fatukasi. Again, they're paying a replaceable starter like he's a superstar. You would think that after a while, Jaguars owner Shad Khan would demand his front office to stop wasting his money since it's backfired far more often than not. But whatever, carry on Jaguars, you do your thing. But which NFL team do you think won free agency? And who do you think blew it the worst? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.